Free Ross. It's about time, and that time is now. Ross Ulbricht is currently serving life in prison for creating a website. This is an interesting turn of events by Mr. Trump. So what is happening right now? We've got Base Mike Lee's introducing an End the Fed bill this week. Wall Street has bought 5x the supply of Bitcoin mined last week. Trump wants to crush the anti-crypto army. I think Bitcoin, while it's stuck around the $69,000 level, is getting ready to melt faces. I'm your host, Sean. You are watching G'day Bitcoin. It's the Bitcoin news with the fast facts. Let's dive straight into Trump and what he has to say in regards to Ross Ulbricht this morning.
And if you vote for me on day one, I will commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht to a sentence of time served.
Now, a couple of things. We have seen many times over and over politicians say things on their electoral campaign, and when they get in, they don't do anything about it. He did have a chance last time to set Ross free, and ultimately that did not happen. But Fox has covered it here. We'll see what Fox has to say, and fingers crossed, this would be a great development. The gentleman, Ross, has served about 11 years now. He is 40, and for creating a website, it's a little bit insane. Now, Trump vows to commute prison sentence as Silk Road founder Ross Ulbricht. Couple of things. Former President Trump on Saturday vowed to commute the prison sentence to Ross Ulbricht, the founder of the online narcotics selling site Silk Road. The GOP frontrunner made the pledge while addressing the Libertarian National Convention in Washington, D.C. in a bid to win over skeptical party activists, many of whom held up signs that said a free Ross. Absolutely amazing. And the reception. Did this just give Trump the election? It's very, very possible. If you vote for me on day one, I will commute the sentence to Ross Ulbricht to a sentence of time served. Trump said, winning the largest cheers of the night. He already served 11 years. We're going to get him home. During his presidency, Trump considered intervening to release Ulbricht, but ultimately decided against the pardon. I'd love to know what his reasoning was behind that. He had that opportunity last time. Is it just about votes this time? And it is just about votes, which I dare say the whole Bitcoin cryptocurrency thing from Trump's camp is literally just about the votes. If it allows the everyday person to accept Bitcoin, hold Bitcoin in self-custody, he is protecting your right to be able to self-custody as well. It is a win regardless. And people say, why aren't you talking about RFK? Here is way more Bitcoin. He's way more based. Totally understand. If anyone's going to get in, though, out of the two, I dare say it's going to be Trump. I'm here in Australia, ladies and gentlemen, so it really doesn't affect us all too much. But if the US has a pro-Bitcoin president, this is game theory in action. So Ulbricht, now 40, was sentenced in 2015 to life in prison by a judge who cited 6 deaths that resulted from narcotics bought on his website, and 5 people he did have, he tried to take out as well. That was not proven in court, I believe. There's no evidence in regards to that. As more conspiracy. Now, Ulbricht operated the website between 2011 and 2013 when he was arrested. Dread Pirate Roberts was his name. So Trump also pledged that he'd protect cryptocurrencies by stopping President Biden's crusade to crush crypto. Last point here, we're going to stop it. I'll ensure that the future of crypto and the future of Bitcoin will be made in the USA, not driven overseas, Trump said. I will support the right of self-custody to the nation's 50 million crypto holders. I say this. With your vote, I will keep Elizabeth Warren and her goons away from your Bitcoin. I'll never allow the creation of a central bank digital currency. Absolutely huge. And then we have Bake Mice Lee announced that he said next week, which will be this week, he'll introduce in the Senate an End the Fed bill. Like, all these things all coming at once. Shout out to everyone that is watching live or watching the replay. If you can smash the like button, greatly appreciated. All these things coming out all at once. It's interesting. It sort of feels like the world's heading back in the right direction again. Regardless, Bitcoin doesn't care. All you need to do is buy, stack, and chill. Make the most of it. But what a time, hey, to see Bitcoin's incentives when you align with them, when the world aligns with them. becomes a much better place. Anyway, we'll hand it over to Based Mike Lee.
The end of Fed bill in the United States Senate.
We see OPD saying Vivek for VP. That's definitely where this party line of pro-Bitcoin, pro-crypto has come from, Vivek Ramaswamy. We've seen it play out and we've been covering it ever since the start, ever since Vivek got into Trump's era and said, hey, you need to about face on this. And Trump's done it in his stride, you know, he's taken it into his stride. He's really pedal to the metal, I dare say, going down the freedom side of things. Is that actually how it'll play out? I'm not so sure. Would I trust him with their words? No, it's not done until it's done. But Bitcoin is literally taking over the world as we speak. It's pretty insane. So we're stuck at $69,000, which we have been sort of for a while there. Good reason to buy. We've got a nice red button. But last week, 15,300 Bitcoin were bought by the Bitcoin ETFs. Last week, there's only 3,150 Bitcoin mined. That means last week, the US ETFs purchased 5x more Bitcoiners than the miners produced. We could be looking at a major supply-demand shock. But Hill, I appreciate this post here. The ETF's massive buy-in shows a soaring demand against a limited supply. Absolutely incredible. And it sort of feels a little bit strange that we're just stuck in this range. I'll bring up the price chart in a second. We're just going sideways. We'll get to 70, 71,000. We'll come back down to 68,000. And it just feels like it's coiling up. And what's it going to do? Is it going to go up or go down? Short term, nobody knows. Long term, $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 days to the upside, to the downside. It'll be sideways for a long time, which it is now. But when Bitcoin starts moving, it only moves on average 11 days a year. You want to be here, you want to be ready for it, because I think once it starts moving, it is going to melt face, it's going to rip up. Even Max Kaiser chiming in here. With Trump in the game, Bitcoin's rebellious DIY mid-70s like cypherpunk era is truly done and dusted. I'd agree and disagree to an extent on that. Of course, the Bitcoin developers are going to stick with the mid-70s like cypherpunk era. However, the nation-state hedge funds and sovereign wealth fund game theory kicks in. Price head to 1 million. Remember, Bitcoin has no top because fiat has no bottom. Regardless of what Bitcoin does in the coming days, weeks, and months, I believe it's going to be much, much higher. Over time, it's either going to zero or it's going to $1 million. I don't think it's going to zero, in my opinion. It's at, what, 68,989. Maybe a good time to get some, just in case it does head there. And I think that's pretty certain. The world's hardest, scarcest asset, and they're continuing to print money. Anyway, this is where Trump's done his major about face. This is what's really gone viral over the weekend. Let's get it orange, man.
I will ensure that the future of crypto and the future of Bitcoin will be made in the USA, not driven overseas. I will support the right to self-custody to the nation's 50 million crypto holders. I say this with your vote. I will keep Elizabeth Warren and her goons away from your Bitcoin.
Winning.
And I will never allow the creation of a central bank digital currency. I will also...
Well done. If he follows through, absolutely well done. This here could be the pivot point in the election on the world stage, nation state, FOMO going in. We do have Jason Lowry. I'll see if I can bring it up, and I reposted it this morning. Jason Lowry, who's with Space Force, wrote the book Soft War, put out a post. Once we move past the fear of government banning you know what, and are comfortable calling it a weapon defense system, the Second Amendment will come into play. But the real excitement begins when everyone simultaneously realizes its importance for national security. think $100 million per coin. Obviously, Jason Lowry is talking about the coin being a Bitcoin. Now, the way I understand this, it's a little bit cryptic, but study Bitcoin, get some before every nation state adopts a strategic Bitcoin strategy. We're seeing it more and more. I've got an article to bring up towards the end that is incredible on the energy, the renewable energy side of things. Bitcoin is just literally continuing to make the world better, sound money, cheaper electricity, building out the energy grids, providing freedom, private property rights to the world. You cannot stop an idea whose time has come. And this idea has been going on for 845,290 blocks. Roughly every 10 minutes we get one of these new ones. Sometimes we get a couple in a 10-minute period. Sometimes we get none. But on average, about 9 minutes 45, 9 minutes 50 over the last 15 years. It's just been ticking away. The exchange rate is saying 68,815. The one in the back is exactly on $69,000. What a day. What a day. What a freaking incredible deal. I hope you're stacking. Just buy, stack, and chill. Bitcoin doesn't need to be that complicated. Put it in self-custody and cold storage, and you're winning. Anyway, today you get a remarkable deal. This is what excites me. 1,453 Satoshis per USD. Now, every one Bitcoin's made up of 100 million Satoshis. And for every $1, you get 1,453. It's the scarcest thing on planet Earth, and you can put it in, as little as $1 and walk away with a percentage of the world's hardest asset. Anyway, at the moment, the hash rate has gone up a little bit, so the blocks are actually going at 8 minutes and 51 seconds. So it looks like June 5, if things stay the same, we're going to get a difficulty adjustment up 13% harder there. Now, this is the chart. I'll just refresh it and see where we're at, 68,686. That's the last 24 hours. Not much to see. It's down a little bit, under 1%. Over the last 7 days, it's up a little bit, but really it's been range bound, 66,000 to 69,000. And we hit, 71,460, I think is a little bit higher than that. Let's come down here, and it tells us 71,464. Okay, we nailed it. With the low of 66,000. This is just sideways action. And this sideways action, this $5,000 that we've had over 7 days, sometimes we're going to get that in a single candle. It's not something to be scared of. Like the red's best. Green's great, but red is best. Truly, if you can get used to just smashing that buy button, getting the world's hardest asset, freedom technology, it's a pretty good deal in my book. Whatever, if it's green or red, smash it. If we zoom out a little bit further, though, this is where we start to see the trend. And with Bitcoin, when in doubt, just zoom out. Bitcoin does go up and to the right forever. Forever is a really long time, too. If you know, you know. But we have time. And when you save in Bitcoin, you're saving the most important thing, which is your life force, your time. And over time, that compounds. So even if you got it a year ago, you're well over 100% up on your time savings. It's pretty incredible. So I think where I'm getting at is Bitcoin has been range bound for quite a while now. When Bitcoin moves, it's slowly, then suddenly it's going to start ripping. And I think it's going to rip to the upside. Maybe we get a little bit more downside. But with Wall Street buying 5x the amount of Bitcoin week in, week out, it's starting to get insane, and they are turning positive in their inflows. Now, the Bitcoin Way, I actually had a really freaking epic talk with Tony from the Bitcoin Way yesterday. He's coming on Wednesday afternoon. We'll do a proper recorded podcast, and I'll drop that in the next week or two. Guy's absolutely amazing. The team, 25 years cybersecurity experience. He's all about freedom, about protecting your generational wealth. We've done another video, and he talked about what happened in Lebanon. Absolutely insane. Gave me the heebity-jeebities, I would dare say. And this is why he's such an active proponent of putting your Bitcoin into self-custody, making sure everything is air-gapped, running your own node, being your own bank. Like Barack Obama said, Bitcoin's like having a Swiss bank account in your pocket. It is, yes, if you are running a node, which is one of these little things down here. You can be your own bank. It's super easy. It's not real difficult, but if you need any help, you can reach out to the Bitcoin Way today. The first 30 minutes is free. Safe Dean absolutely loves them. The Bitcoin Way is a service I've always wanted. You get people like Natalie Brunel as well jumping in there. Privacy, inheritance planning, cybersecurity, multi-sig UTXO management. If you need any help anywhere, first 30 minutes is free. They're cool. Tiny's a cool guy. I look forward to having him back on Wednesday. Now, I thought this was pretty cool, and I'm a massive proponent and fan and friend of Brian Dement. He's the author of Bitcoin Evangelism. Really quickly, he put out another book called Parallel, and the prologue was written by Knut Van Holm. Each journey into Bitcoin is transformative, revealing the intricate connections that unite us and the potential for human flourishing with their now collaborative endeavors. It's a super epic book. I'm all about reading the books or eating the bugs, like the agenda, and it feels like we're winning. Like there's the World Economic Forum agenda, own nothing and be happy, and then there's the Bitcoin agenda, private property rights for the globe, and Bitcoin's obviously a force for good. It's truth aligned. It's going to have more power than that dark dystopian world that the WEF wants to push out on people. How do we get to this beautiful world? It's living on a Bitcoin standard. The first book, Bitcoin Evangelism, Brian wrote, was about like, what is Bitcoin? Parallel is like the how of Bitcoin. Sharing it, using it, and a great... I guess I'll get to it at the end, but like with the birds getting sick at the moment, we're having outbreaks in Australia as well. They did say that it's not transferable to humans. Having a war against meat, against eggs, against milk, the burning of bees that's been going on, coincidence or not, creating these relationships with farmers, the producers straight away, using Bitcoin, freedom technology, permissionless money, to be able to thrive, to be able to survive in what could potentially be coming as we go through the shift between the World Economic Forum and Bitcoin, hyper-Bitcoinization in your own life. You can already be on the parallel economy. So it's an epic book. It's the second line in the description. I'll bring Brian back on as well. But 5 years ago versus today, you cannot change Bitcoin. Bitcoin changes you. Donald J. Trump. I'm not a fan of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies which are not money and whose value is highly volatile and is based on thin air. Unregulated crypto assets can facilitate unlawful behavior, including drug trade and other illegal activities. 5 years ago and now you cannot change Bitcoin. It changes you. Insane. I'm very positive and open-minded to cryptocurrency companies and all things related to this new and burgeoning industry. Hey, Luna, want to come up? Nope, she wants to play. Crazy little dog is in the house. Now, our country must be the leader in the field. There is no second place, like there is no second best. Crooked Joe Biden, on the other hand, the worst president in the history of our country, wants it to die a slow and painful death. That will never happen with me. Absolutely fantastic if true. We'll see how this plays out. Just having Bitcoin on America's the superpower of the world. It's the world reserve currency. It's very likely he's got a really good chance of winning, probably the best option at the moment for where the state of the world is. For people that are going to win, sure, there's better options. I get that. I don't think they have a hope to win. That'd be better, sure. But Trump coming in, I think, more positive than negative, but to bring Bitcoin onto the world stage, because that's what he's doing. He's not just bringing it to the American public, but to everyone. People are paying attention. And this to be a political issue, absolutely amazing. I guess the biggest thing, Bitcoin's going to do Bitcoin things. You can't stop it. It's all good. If he just does one out of his two sort of talking lines, free Ross, please, Trump. That would be my hope. But He said a couple of things. Trump posts, our country must be the leader in the crypto field prior to a speech before libertarians. The comments came days after he became the first US major presidential candidate to accept crypto donations. Obviously, they are embracing crypto as well. They don't realize, most people don't realize the difference between Bitcoin and crypto. Bitcoin's money, crypto is a technology play, and a lot of the cryptocurrency out there was created so that the founders could steal as much of your Bitcoin as possible and change the rules all the time. Anyway, Donald J. Trump tightened his recent embrace in crypto today, posted on social media, I'm very positive, open-minded to cryptocurrency companies and all things related to this new and burgeoning industry. He is a businessman. He can see that there is money there. As both sides in the upcoming presidential election appear to be seeking to win over pro-crypto voters, it's become a voting issue. Our country must be the leader in the field. There is no second place. He obviously took a shot at his rival, crooked Joe Biden. On the other hand, the worst president in the history of our country wants it to die a slow and painful death. Got something pretty interesting about Bidenomics from Janet Yellen as well that we'll dive into. The sentiment towards crypto has noticeably warmed in Washington. First, the former president made pro-crypto comments earlier this month at a Mar-a-Lago dinner. Then this past Tuesday, Trump's presidential campaign began accepting crypto donations, making good on the presumptive Republican nominee's pledge to become the first major party candidate to embrace Bitcoin. He owes a lot to Vivek Ramaswamy. Following Trump's pro-crypto rhetoric and actions, the Biden administration opposition to crypto as well as attitudes to the traditional crypto-adverse Securities and Exchange Commission appear to have softened. Last Wednesday, the White House issued a statement expressing its opposition to the House of Representatives passing a crypto market structure bill, but Biden didn't threaten a veto, which we did think was going to happen. So they're slowly, then suddenly. You can't change Bitcoin. Bitcoin changes you. We'll see what happens there. Simon Picard, I need to jump on and say hi. We'll watch the replay. Good to see you. OPD Bitcoin is finally on the ballot. Dracula CIA, Cocoa. The Coconut Import Agency is what Dracula is saying. And shout out to everyone in the chat. Michael Dracula, Habib, Diesel, Mike, Johnny Midas. It is good to see everyone this morning. If you can, smash the like button. And let's carry on. Bitcoin mining is making the world a better place. They sign a deal with Kenya to invest. This is Marathon in green energy projects. So the company will help monetize stranded energy in the African country and help manage its renewable energy production. Marathon struck a deal Friday with the Minister of Energy and Petroleum of Kenya to develop the African country's energy infrastructure with over $80 million in investments. Couple of things here. In a social media post, the company said the investment will be in green data centers. Marathon also noted in press release that the capital will include foreign investments without specifying sources of funds. With projected foreign investments expected to exceed 80 mil, this venture is poised to deliver economic benefits to the Kenyan economy and greater revenue for the local energy sector ecosystem, according to the statement. Now, renewable energy in Kenya is Kenya's main power source, responsible for 80% of all electricity generation in 2022, with plans to increase its share to 100% by the end of the decade. Couple of things I'm curious about. I'll read this last line. However, renewable energy sources like solar and wind are intermittent, meaning that they don't produce energy when most of the consumption happens. Solar doesn't work at night. The battery technology is incredibly expensive. It's not always blowing winds, and if it's blowing too strong, some of those turbines there just, self-implode. But what do they do at night? If they have no batteries, maybe they've got hydroelectric as well. Maybe I need to look into a little bit more on how their electricity is generated. But if it's just solar and winds, it's pretty risky for rolling blackouts. Obviously, having the Bitcoin miners come in, they can really expand the capacity. They can soak up everything, incentivize. But still, like, what happens at night? And are the miners going to be able to run 24 hours a day? Or is it just going to be like during the day when it's really windy, or at night when it's really windy and when the sun is shining? It's interesting, but they are incentivizing and allowing it to be profitable.
This was a very non-partisan. This was
autoplay. Warren Davidson, CBDC is the creepiest surveillance tool ever developed. Yeah, totally switched gears from the mind, and I understand. And every dystopian fictional movie is corrupted into a tool for coercion and control. It is right, and just to stop it. Now, Tom Emma, this week the House GOP took action to prevent the machine at the Federal Reserve from creating a CCP-style surveillance tool with a digital bank. Central bank digital currency. This should not be a partisan issue. Americans don't want their government to spy on their finances. Of course not. Why would anyone want that? CBDCs everywhere around the world. I reckon we get one October, November this year here in Australia. Maybe it takes a little bit longer. They are coming. Well done. Hopefully you don't get one over there in the States. It's the WEF agenda.
This was a very non-partisan proposal. It simply says the Federal Reserve is not allowed to create a Chinese Communist Party-style surveillance tool with a central bank digital currency unless and until the Fed can show us that it is open, permissionless, and private with a capital P, Sean. It's got to be able to emulate cash. And if they can ever do that, then before they could actually construct it and implement it, they would have to come to Congress for authorization, because this is something that the elected officials should do. We had 3 Democrats who were very smart. People don't realize how potent this issue is with the American public. This is not a Republican or Democrat issue. This is an American issue. Americans do not want their government spying on them. And if we have a tool that allows the government to collect all this private, very sensitive financial information, purchases and deposits and withdrawals, Sean, you think they're not going to use that tool to control us? Well, yes, they will.
I just saw a comment there by Jake Thomas. Beautiful day in the neighbourhood. Storms and tornado wreck people's lives in a matter of seconds. I did hear about those tornadoes. I saw a video. My well wishes and prayers go out to all the families affected, all the individuals affected. Absolutely insane. You know, there's all this stuff going on in the world from a political point of view, from the evil elites, whatever it is, and then nature just comes in and reminds us that nature's the boss, and we're very little, and things can change in a moment. It's those natural disasters can be insane. One thing, and I don't mean to brush over it, but I have noticed going through, severe cyclones, that the neighbours, the community rallies together. It shows people that we're all human. They get in and pitch in. If there's one good thing that comes out of it, I guess it's that. But yeah, so sorry to hear. Jake Thomas, make each moment matter. Tell your loved ones they are loved. 100% agree. It's the most important. And shout out to Holden Wood. G'day, all. Great show today. Appreciate. Now, Oliver Velez, what a guy. I think this is pretty good. Definitely sums up the way I see Bitcoin as well. I can be characterized as Bitcoin maximalist. Everyone knows that for me, nothing else has ever mattered other than Bitcoin. However, I've been doing a lot of soul searching lately, especially after this epic post, and I've now realized that a change in my stance is warranted. I'm sorry, I have to change. I can no longer, in all honesty and all sincerity, ignore the enormous benefits I see outside of Bitcoin alone. So from this point onwards, I will also be recommending that you add Satoshis to your weekly DCA program if you can. I truly believe now that those two, Bitcoin and Satoshis, will secure your family's future for generations to come. I had to relent. I could no longer ignore the evidence. It's Bitcoin and Satoshis from here on out. Bitcoin maxis, come at me. I am ready. Hashtag stack harder. Saving Bitcoin, saving Satoshis, spending Satoshis. And the speculator, maybe. The next Bitcoin bubble will be the largest yet. they go on. I'm not bringing it up. I'm not going to dive into any of it at all. But basically, they're scared. Bitcoin is winning. It is on the political stage, and it is fighting things like the cost of living that Janet Yellen acknowledges. So when we go back to what Oliver said, when you're saving a Bitcoin in Satoshis, you're not worrying about the next bubble, up, down, and sideways. Bitcoin will go up, it'll come down, it'll go sideways. Who cares? Over time, Bitcoin's just going to continue to go up because fiat's going down forever. All you need to do is save in it and just translate or transfer over to the Bitcoin parallel economy. It's better, but up to you. I guess it's just a matter of reading the books to get there. And being aware of the cost of living, it's a real problem for consumers. This lady's so out of touch. So Americans are quickly realizing by their empty wallets that the leftists and the Biden administration fueling the inflation storm with reckless government spending amount of $1 trillion every 100 days. No more blaming Putin price hikes. Bidenomics has been one of the greatest policy mistakes in a generation, as working poor folks are crushed by persistently high inflation, forced to rack up insurmountable credit card debts and drain personal savings, all in a move to pay shelter costs, put food on the table, service monthly auto payments. Comment on the inflation storm in U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen. She's actually admitted that living costs are a problem to a lot of people following substantial increase in prices for goods. In an interview with the Financial Times Thursday, Yellen acknowledged that housing and everyday good prices were still very high for many consumers despite solid wage growth in recent months. Great observation, Janet Yellen. Let's remind readers that negative real wage growth decimated tens of millions of working poor consumers in the first years of Biden's first term. It's not just us criticising Bidenomics. Stan Druckenmiller slapped Biden's economic policies with an F and warned that the Federal Reserve and federal government misdiagnosed C-19, mistakenly believing we were headed into a depression. So if you go back to Yellen, who said they see it when they shop for food, they see it in terms of rentals. With high mortgage rates, it's tough for young people who'd like to buy a house to enter the market. So the Australian government here is coming up with some creative ways to enslave people with even more debt and allow them to get their first home. Those real low-income wage earners, you know, we have this property Ponzi scheme. As the fiat economy, like it is in a debt spiral, but as it continues to get tighter and tighter, this is probably going to happen more and more and more. They're saying the quiet part out loud. You know, they're spending $1 trillion every 100 days. I don't know if they can slow down any more. I don't know if anything's going to continue to get cheaper. I think maybe everything may just melt up into the right forever. If that's the case, in my opinion, Bitcoin's going to melt up into the right even faster. If prices do come down, Bitcoin's going to melt up into the right, maybe just a little bit slower. That's my belief. So it's probably a better way. But Brazil, they've postponed their CBDC until 2025 due to inefficiency of privacy solutions. I think this may be a little bit of a psyop. I think the point of a CBDC is privacy. Obviously, they want to have a backdoor and have... Not obviously, this is all speculation. This is me with my tinfoil hat conspiracy. I don't think these are a good thing, but they've postponed it regardless because of inefficiency privacy solutions presented for the project. A new pilot phase starts July and will end 2025. Will allow for new functionality, including smart contracts, to be implemented by third parties. That's pretty interesting, maybe, whatever. But this would extend the scope of the pilot, pushing for private entities to propose new CBDC projects that are outside of the scope of what the central bank designed for Drex originally. That's what it's called, Drex. Dread, sort of sounds like to me. Anyway, according to local reports, the primary motive behind this measure would be that the privacy solutions trialed did not present the necessary maturity to guarantee compliance with all requirements and legal issues related to the preservation of citizens' privacy. Okay, cool. It sounds like a good thing. What are they going to come back with? We'll see. Regardless, CBDCs are an agenda for everyone around the world, you know, even in the States, here in Australia. like Australia's leading the way. Well, China led the way, but we've really got this amazing group think tank going on and pushing this dystopian nightmare out there. They're coming. It's probably a good idea just to save a bit of Bitcoin. Say whatever you're saving, and you're like, I'm not sure about this Bitcoin. Whatever you're saving, just take 10% of that savings, put it into Bitcoin. Every time that money comes in, you're not going to miss 10%. That 10% is probably going to make up 100% of your savings in a few short years. Maybe it doesn't. You're not going to miss that 10%, but maybe if you're holding in self-custody, if this dystopian laws come in, if all the birds get sick, if all the cows need to be vaccinated, which is happening in New South Wales, did you see that? In Australia, that's a state. In Australia, they are putting in experimental mRNA vaccines into the cattle, or they've developed the technology to do that. They're trying to get rid of eggs, milk, obviously the bees we've seen as well. I don't know. It's at least that's where my conviction comes from, just to buy a stack and chill. Shout out to everyone that is watching live. If you haven't already, smash the subscribe button if we vibe. If you can hit the like. I'm going to jump into a few comments this morning. Just shout out. Sats Bitcoin, WTF Dracula. Yeah, Oliver is trolling 100%. But the way I'm thinking about it is I save in Bitcoin and I spend in Satoshis. Like, it's sort of like, you know, if we're going to go back to the analog system, you're like saving gold and you spend the silver. It's, yeah, like it makes sense, but whatever way. At the end of the day, the message is just buy, stack, and chill as much as you possibly can, and stack harder and on is what he's saying. Double up on the tinfoil. Course. In what regard, though, Dracula? Like everything I just said is happening now as we speak. So whether it's a coincidence, whether there's a agenda behind it or not, or it's just happening for our own good, it's happening. So happy to bring it up. We went through a couple of those. I find that Canyon stat hard to believe, the 80% and then going 100%. Me too. Simon, smash that like and help each other stack, and let's all stick together and be the change the world needs. Peace, y'all. 100% appreciate. Mike, good morning. Johnny Midas, good morning. Diesel Kane, good morning. Habib, g'day. OPD, g'day, legend. Dracula, Michael, OPD again. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. Ron Walker, good to see you, my man. Holden Wood. Every day or just occasionally or when it feels right? Holden Wood. Well, Freaky Deaky Bitcoin Maxi. G'day, amigo. Got me a new moniker. It is good to see ya. Now, who is Freaky Deaky Bitcoin Maxi? May take a while to be able to work that out. Ladies and gentlemen, Bitcoin is literally at 68,873. Just smash the like, not the like button, smash the buy button. Fuck, like literally that's the most important thing. Read the books, get your conviction up with Bitcoin. It's going to the freaking moon. $1 million, 10 million, Jason Lowry, 100. Oh, sorry, he's not talking about Bitcoin. He's talking about the coin. Jason Lowry, the author of Soft War, another epic Bitcoin author. 100 million, whatever it does. Bitcoin's now on the world stage. It's not getting banned. Hold your Bitcoin in self-custody. Ride out the volatility. Who cares? It's the world's scarcest asset. Be here for a long time and a good time. Your life's going to get incredibly better, and it doesn't really take long. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow. Smash that like. Leave a comment. I will catch up on all of them. There's a few there. Sorry, it's been super hectic the last couple of weeks, and I was sick. With that, just on sickness, like I was incredibly sick. Most days I still tried to show up, and it was absolute torture. You can see that I was a little bit off. My elbows especially, all my joints were aching. Now, I hardly ever get sick. I have not been sick like that maybe in my entire life, but for at least like 10 to 12 years. The cough, I've still got that a little bit. It felt like glue in my throat. My nose was just running. For me, not advice in any way. I'm just saying for me, I got told to take antibiotics and get get a shot. I didn't do either of them. I went in the sun. I started walking once I could. Like, I just needed to really lay in bed, get a lot of rest. Sat in the sun and ate a lot of steak, and it was all good, and my body feels healthier, stronger because of it. Whatever PSYOP comes out, it's your body, it's your choice. It's also your responsibility. I think the propaganda's starting to happen here. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but I don't know. But just make your own decision, but make your decision. Don't let someone else make it for you. Total side tangent. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow. Be blessed. Peace. You're all legends. You're all winning. It's good to be here with you.